Hello and welcome to another weekly update. It's Friday the 1st of November, and I will give an update on the golf course, an update on projects such as the 8th quarry, 12th tee, grass collection points and staff slash job vacancies. So they will all be down in the description, so if you want to skip to any of that, they will be down in the description. So you can click on that time and just skip to those if you haven't got the time to watch all of this video. So what have we been up to this week? We have one member of staff on holiday, so a four and a half man team this week. The greens roller went down last week, the pull cord on it went, and we weren't able to fix that, so apologies if you felt the greens weren't quite as quick and smooth as they usually would. So we just swapped the roll out for a cut and a dewy last weekend, and then that got fixed Monday, and we've got them back up to speed and trueness during this week. So if you did notice that, then that would be the reason why. I'm down here on the short game area. We've had the short game area was due to be closed this week with our one week on, 1 week off policy to give it a bit of a rest, but what we've done, so we've just closed the putting green because that is the area that suffers the most. I've done a couple of videos down here now, and gone through the points where you can start to see soil due to wear and tear. So nice dry weeks like we've had again this week. We'll keep this chipping area open as much as possible, and then we'll just give that green a rest. I mentioned last week about going to this 4-5 day policy, where twice a week is too much for some jobs and once a week isn't long enough. So this week we went out and changed holes twice and did greens rounds. So that was Monday, Friday. Just did tees on Wednesday, and that will flip round next week. So we'll do tees Monday, Friday next week, and then we'll just get one hole change and greens round cut in there. So that works out well with that 4 to 5 day policy. We cut between the trees this week, so that tidies the grass up underneath the trees, and also with the leaf fall that we're getting, it smashes those up so they're broken up and smaller, and it's easier to find your ball in those areas. So that there's double job there if you like that, which works well. And then we put the semi-mower out on I just said go chasing leaves, so just break up some of those leaves. So again, as I said, it's easier to find your ball in some of those heavy leafy areas. The fairways, we are as and when looking at those today on a course setup. They're starting to get long, so we'll do those again next week, give those a good tidy up. We are experiencing, I've been out cutting a few times this week, and we are still taking quite a lot of grass off with these warm, mild temperatures and nice dry conditions. So the grass is still growing, and yes, going well. So it needs staying on top of. So yeah, as I said, the fairways will get tidied up next week. We've also hosted a course walk this week for Ilford Heath. Greenkeepers, they came across and had a look at our facilities in the short game area, and then we took them out to the golf course and showed them through some of the more exciting projects that we've done over the last two to 3 years, and gone through some of the things that we have planned coming up. And then they went and played golf, which was great, and we had some really nice feedback from them. So yeah, it was really nice to have some other greenkeepers in here and network and speak to them, and yeah, it was good, and that will be reciprocated as well. I think we're going to go over to them early part of next year, because they're having a whole new irrigation system put in on their blue course and redoing their bunkers. So middle of the winter will be a good time. We can see what some of the bunkers look like before, what they are now, how they're being constructed, and then maybe a couple of finished ones. So that's the idea there. So yeah, that was great. So that's what we've been up to on the golf course this week, and all the project updates to follow. One other job we've started this week that I didn't mention just before I get onto projects is we've started to trim down some of the bunker tops. The newly constructed bunkers down the bottom end of the golf course are on 10 and 3. They grow particularly thick, so we've made a start on those. We will go through and trim quite a lot of areas on the golf course, such as all the other bunker tops, the old wispy bunkers, and some of the green banks that are around the sides of the green, such as 1, 3, 8, 16, and 17 as well. I think that's all of them, but then maybe one or two more. But we will go around and trim all those. But they're a good job to do in the frost, so we're just waiting. We can do that in the frost, whereas there's many other jobs that we can't do in the frost when the ground is hard. So we'll wait for the opportune time and right time to do those. But we've just got in and done those bunkers because they do get particularly thick, and so it was a good opportunity this week to get out there and get those done. There's a good learning curve from building those bunkers. We've imported quite a bit of soil to do some of the mounding on the top. The soil that we brought in was fairly nutritious and has caused the grass to be a bit thicker than we would like. So we do try to manage those quite a bit. In the summer months we'll get through and do what we call a verti-trim in those. So thin them out. So we try to keep that look that matches in with the rest of the golf course of the wispy tops. But we are aware they do get a little bit thick, and it was a good learning curve that I talked last week about. Capping things with chalk to reduce the nutrients and things like that. So we will use that as a technique going forward when we construct bunkers in the future, and we will probably revisit these bunkers as well to do something to keep those thin and wispy by perhaps taking the turf off, capping the areas with a layer of chalk, and then putting some turf down so they stay nice and wispy. But yeah, that was another job that we did this week, and next we'll get on to projects. So a update on the 8th quarry this week. We've got in there and started shaping up with the digger into the shape we'd like that to look. We've taken quite a bit of inspiration from links courses and the way they open up some of their native areas and scrape down to the sand, so you have some very rustic, large, open bunker looking shapes. So so that's what we're trying to achieve, in a similar way really. Rather than just being a big open chalk pit, we're going to try and make it a little bit intricate and have a few islands in there and have sort of lots of different differing levels, and a nose sort of at the end of at the face of that bunker at the end, if you can see what I mean there. So yeah, lots of different shapes and angles with the turf and the way we're going to go in. So yeah, it looks very rustic and wild and native really. So as I said, taking lots of inspiration from the Links boys and what we see on some of the great projects they do. We see that from social media, so pinching in a few ideas there, which is great. We are taking our time with this. We have a new member of staff who has good construction experience behind him, and it's just converting that into golf course construction. So it was an appraisal target for one of our members of staff, Ben, to sit in the digger and start shaping that up, so he can have time and get used to using an excavator and creating those shapes and sort of trying to learn the vision of the rustic natural shape that we're trying to put in there. So yeah, as I said, we're sort of taking our time, and it's quite nice for me to be able to give Ben those photos and spend a little bit of time with him, and then give him that brief, and then walk away and give him his time to start shaping and getting used to that excavator. And we did unfortunately have a breakdown in the digger this week, so that's why you can still see the digger sat in the middle. It's still in the middle of that chalk area, so that'll get fixed up next week, and we'll continue. That's halted progress a little bit. But no, that's all going very well, and we're pleased with that. It's starting to shape up very nicely. As I said, we'll get the digger fixed and continue, and hopefully finish off that shaping next week, and continue on with the turfing. A quick update on the 12th tee. We've had some great germination which is largely down to these mild conditions which I've already been talking about. The key really is getting that seed under the ground, making contact with the soil, and it's got the best opportunity. And with these mild temperatures and the rain it had when we first laid it and fertilized it, then all the conditions are there and ready to go, and that's come to fruition. So all those seedlings are starting to poke their head through, which is great, and that will only continue to get thicker and grow and turn into a nice dense sward over the winter period. And we'll continue to manage it. We'll continue to throw fertilizer at it, and perhaps overseed if we get a few bare patches and things like that. So yeah, quick update on the 12th. Yeah, absolutely delighted to start seeing some germination, and yeah, the quicker that grows up and turns into a nice sward, the quicker we start using it. So it's great. Another job we've done this week is to introduce a grass collection point between the 11th green and the 12th tee, so the walkway as you go through there. That's quite a busy area with the 6th green, 11th green, 15th green, 14th green, and then that junction of tees of 7, 12, 16 as well. So we desperately try not to throw our clippings into the long rough because it just thickens it up and adds a lot of nutrients, and then you get the thicker grasses in there, and yeah, we don't achieve our goal of maintaining a light, thin, wispy rough. So that leads us to have grass collection points around the golf course. We try to keep these as out the way as possible so they're not sort of seen by golf, and what started off as a little grass collection point area within these bushes has extended and got bigger and bigger over the years where we've started doing this. So we've put these sleepers in as a bit of a temporary fix to create this grass collection point, and probably as a more long-term thing we'll sort of screen it off with some mounding and shrubbery, so create an area where we can sort of drive into and empty our clippings into, and then they will be emptied as and when they need to be. So, but hopefully that tidies it up for the time being, and we're seeing less clippings as we go around. So it tidies it up as we travel around. So a little bit of sad news this week. Our apprentice Tom Mundy, who is photoed here, has handed his notice in and decided that greenkeeping isn't quite for him, and he feels like he would like to pursue a role sort of in the military, whether that be the RAF or the army. So so he's decided he would like to chase that venture. So that does create a job vacancy for us as we now look to replace him and put an apprentice greenkeeper in place. We've got a fantastic team here, fantastic core of 4 with myself and Mark, who's an extremely hardworking, passionate deputy head greenkeeper. Then we've got Ben as well, who joined us this year, who's got some great experience in construction, and sort of, as I've talked about in this video already, he sort of does quite a lot of those construction-y type jobs. And also Stuart as well, who joined us this year. He comes from a background of mechanics working on motorbikes for BMW and things. So they've both been great additions to the team. Stuart with that mechanical background and sort of starts looking after the servicing and fixing up some of our machinery, which is great. So there's a good skill set in there within that core 4. So I think it's a great opportunity for an apprentice, someone young who wants to learn the trade, to come in. I think greenkeeping is a fantastic job. It's a great career. And it can take you, there's golf courses all over the world, so it can take you all over the world, and I think it's a very rewarding job. So yeah, as I said, we're looking for an apprentice greenkeeper. So that advert is out, and if you are someone who is watching this and has applied, we just left the advert open for a couple of weeks, and then we will start to make some contact in responding to some of those. The remunerations on there, that will obviously be reviewed. The budget came out this week from the government, so that will be reviewed into next year, and all be in line with that. I've got sort of £7 to £9 an hour. What we try to do with our apprentice is sort of they'll come in on that lower figure, and then I've got a list of 8 jobs which will range from anything of the cutting jobs basically, and a lot of the core setup jobs, so that would be cutting greens, cutting tees, cutting aprons, cutting fairways. There's a list of jobs of eight jobs there. So every time an apprentice can do 2 of those jobs, then we'll up their pay by 50p an hour to as they become more valuable to us and more skilled, we'll reward them with a little bit more pay for that. We do very much try to treat an apprentice like they are a full-time greenkeeper in a way. So I think that's a very good way of doing it. I think many apprentices can come in and just do a lot of jobs that greenkeepers don't want to do sometimes, such as, I don't know, just emptying bins, strimming, raking bunkers. As a team, we're not really about that. We want to have an apprentice come here, learn their trade, and leave us the best greenkeeper that we can train them up to be. So the makeup of the apprentice greenkeeper is a 30-month contract. That's 2.5 years. So the idea is they come in, we have a 3-month trial to see whether they like it and they would like to continue and pursue. And then there's 2 years worth of a college course, level 2 greenkeeping certificate to back up that experience with that education. And then there'll be 3 months at the end where if we have no vacancies available, I'll sort of sit down with the apprentice, we'll go through their CVs and look at the jobs that are out there and try and find them a job to go into the greenkeeping industry as a fully qualified assistant greenkeeper that's ready to go and take a role somewhere else. So that's the idea behind the apprentice. So if that appeals to you, or someone that might appeal to, then please pass it on, and get in touch, and we'll have those CVs in and start looking for a replacement for Tom. That's all for this week's, folks. Thanks for tuning in, watching, and we will be back with you next week to let you know what we've been up to on the course.